Brentwood, Los Angeles, the early hours of the 5th of August, 1962. Behind a locked bedroom door, the most photographed woman in the world lies still. She is 36 years old. She will not wake. On the nightstand, an empty bottle. Beside it, more. By morning, the world will know her name and ask a single question. Did she choose this, or did someone choose it for her? This is the file of Marilyn Monroe. She was the brightest thing Hollywood ever made. And to understand how she ended, alone in the dark, you first have to see how she was made at all. She was not born Marilyn, she was born Norma Jeane. 1926, Los Angeles, to a mother the world would soon take away. Her mother was committed when she was 8. A 1935 admission slip made her ward 3,463 of a Los Angeles orphan's home, 9 foster homes. A childhood she said held abuse no child should carry. She married at 16 to escape it. Then the war sent her to a factory bench, and there a photographer sent to shoot morale among the women workers raised his camera at her, and the camera fell in love. They lightened her brown hair to platinum. A studio man gave her a new first name, and she took the surname from her grandmother. Norma Jeane signed it away. Marilyn Monroe walked out of the mirror. She signed with a studio in 1946, and the studio system did not employ a star, it owned one. It chose your films, your name, your face, your price. 1953. In a film noir Against the Falls, she played a scheming wife, and the world looked up. The starlet had become a star. That same year, she became the studio's biggest draw. And here is the injustice the cameras never showed. On one film, her co-star earned around $200,000. Marilyn was held to $1,500 a week. 1955 gave the world its single most famous image of her. A white dress, a subway grate, an updraft of warm air. The studio had turned a frightened girl into a sensation. And a sensation is not allowed to stop. She fought back. She walked out, crossed the country, and learned to act for real. She built her own company and forced the studio to its knees. For one moment, she held the power. Critics finally called her what she always was, an artist. By 1959, she was winning awards for comedy that has never aged. On screen, she was champagne and light. Off screen, the light was already flickering. She married a baseball legend, and it lasted 274 days. She married a great playwright, the Hourglass and the Egghead, and it ended in 1961 with a clinic and a fragile woman alone again. She once said fame doesn't fulfill you, it warms you a little, but that warmth is temporary. And all those people who loved her, who did not know her, she said, could hate her the very same way. A career is wonderful, she said, but you cannot curl up with it on a cold night. Behind the white gowns, there was insomnia and stage fright, and a growing list of pills to hold both at bay. In her final months, she was prescribed roughly a dozen psychoactive drugs, mostly barbiturates, by more than one doctor. The very medicines meant to let her sleep were the ones that would not let her wake. Her last film was falling apart. She was absent for days. Then she flew east, against the studio's wishes, to sing for a president. In June, weeks after her 36th birthday, the studio fired her by hand-delivered note. The 19th of May, 1962. A gala for the president. A gown so tight it was sewn onto her body. She breathed happy birthday into a microphone, and the whole room held still. It is one of the most haunting moments of her life. She had less than 3 months to live. And so we come back to the house, a modest Spanish-style home on 5th Helena Drive with a motto over the door. The end is here, my journey, it read. Her first house, the one she finally owned alone. 4 people matter to this night. Her housekeeper asked to stay over, her psychiatrist, who came for an emergency session that afternoon, her doctor, who would pronounce her dead, and her publicist, who left earlier that day. Here is what the record agrees on. At 7, the psychiatrist leaves and asks the housekeeper to stay. Soon after, a warm phone call from the son of her ex-husband. By all accounts, she was in good spirits. Around 8, she goes to her room. It is the last undisputed contact. Around 7:45, a friend telephones to invite her to dinner. He would later claim she sounded heavily drugged, and slurred a goodbye to him, to the president, and to herself. But he told the police none of this that night, and over the years, his story kept changing. Then, sometime in the small hours, the housekeeper says she woke, sensed something wrong, and saw light beneath the locked door. The psychiatrist came, broke a window with a poker, and climbed in. He found her face down, the telephone receiver still in her hand. The doctor pronounced her dead, but the police were not called until 25 minutes past 4. Between the two doctors arriving and that call, somewhere between 30 and 90 minutes simply vanished. The delay is fact. The reason for it has never been settled. By dawn, it was on every front page in the world. The screen's brightest star, dead at 36. The official word, even on that first morning, was suicide. The autopsy was performed by a young deputy examiner who would become coroner to the stars. What he found in her blood and in her liver was not in doubt. Lethal, far past any threshold, 2 sedatives working together. The numbers were these: pentobarbital in the blood, 4.5. In the liver, 13. Chloral hydrate, 8. The high liver level matters. It means the drugs had been in her long enough to settle. Not one quick fatal swallow, but something absorbed over time. And here the case begins to fracture. There were no injection marks on her body. That single fact cuts the legs from under the lethal needle theory. But it raised a far stranger question. By what route did the drugs get in at all? Because in her stomach there was almost nothing. No pill residue, no capsules, no yellow dye from 40-odd swallowed pills. The examiner asked for the stomach and the organs to be tested further to answer the question. He was overruled. The numbers were enough, they said, and the samples were thrown away. It is the one genuine forensic wound in this case. It does not prove murder, but it means a central question: how the drugs entered her body was left forever unanswerable. The examiner himself called it a lasting regret. A case, he said, that was botched in its handling. On the 17th of August, the verdict came. Not flat suicide, but probable suicide. The word probable was deliberate. They could not entirely rule out an accident. A panel of psychiatrists conducted what they called a psychological autopsy and concluded this fit a pattern. She had overdosed before and called for rescue. This time, they decided, the rescue simply failed. But a verdict is not the same as the truth, and the public knew it. Into the silence where the destroyed evidence should have been, the theories came rushing. For 60 years, they have never stopped. First, the ambulance. Decades later, the owner of an ambulance company claimed his crew was called near midnight, hours before the official discovery, and found her alive but comatose. Yet he was not there. The driver said she was already dead. No record of the call exists. It rests on testimony that contradicts itself. Then, the housekeeper. Her story shifted for 30 years. The discovery time crept earlier, toward midnight. In an interview as an old woman, she seemed to say she had been covering something up, and that a powerful man had been at the house. But she recanted and blamed her age and her memory. She cannot bear the weight either way. Then, the Red Diary. A book in which she was said to record secrets she had overheard, secrets of state that vanished after her death. But its chief witness was dismissed from the coroner's office for theft from the dead. A later review found no evidence the diary had ever existed at all. And finally, the largest shadow of all. She knew the Kennedys. The breathy birthday song was real. The affair with the president is widely believed. A federal file on her was real. But the claim that a brother was in the house that night was never proven, and that she was silenced to protect their secrets has no physical evidence behind it. None. 20 years later, the district attorney reopened it all. Investigators reread the files, the phone records, the medicine, and questioned the witnesses again. Their conclusion in December 1982 was firm. No credible evidence of murder or conspiracy. The diary, the wiretaps, the rest debunked. And yet, even those prosecutors would not call the case tidy. Their own report admitted that factual discrepancies and unanswered questions remained. That single sentence is the truth of it. Officially, no murder was ever found, but the scene was mishandled. Key evidence was destroyed before it could be read, and the discrepancies have never gone away. She almost certainly died of the barbiturates. Whether she chose them or took them by a careless, fatal accident, we will likely never know. The case was not a mystery because of a killer. It became one because of the people who failed her after she was gone. The verdict reads probable, the samples are gone, the minutes are missing, and the brightest star Hollywood ever made remains, in the end, a file that no one could ever fully close. That was the Monroe file. If you want us to open another, subscribe, and tell us in the comments whose case we should open next. Because here, the file is never truly closed.